Good afternoon, everybody. We are joined by Creighton head coach Jim Flannery. Coach, if you would just open with an opening comment, and then we'll throw it out to questions.
Yeah, well, I just said, we started our season in Iowa City. We played our traditional closed scrimmage with Iowa that we normally play right around Halloween. So we were over here and played in front of an empty building, and here we are, close to 4 months later, starting our postseason. So we're thrilled to be here. I think our team achieved a lot this year. Really proud of them. I said, when your name comes up on Selection Sunday, you're super excited, and you can either wish to go somewhere close to home or somewhere warm, and somehow it's warm in Iowa City, so we got the best of both.
Okay, if you have a question for Coach Flannery, please raise your hand and wait for the microphone, and please identify yourself with your affiliation. Susan up front.
Susan Harmon, a Hawk fanatic. Can you maybe just tell us a little bit about how Rachel Saunders has developed? She's a local kid, and everyone fondly remembers her from West High School here.
Yeah, well, Rachel plays a lot like her dad, and her dad was a football player. So her freshman year, I had to talk her out of fouling quite as much, and that was a thing. But I'm proud of Rachel because I think she's overcome a lot. She's had a lot of knee issues. Last year was a really frustrating year for her. She hurt her knee, mid-December, and her timetable for return was supposed to be 3 to 4 months, and she just had complication after complication, and she really wasn't cleared to play until the beginning of November, even to start practice, and yet here she is, and she's a big part of our team. I think she's one of our captains. We can count on her to provide us tremendous defensive versatility for one, and I think she's become a capable offensive player, and somebody that our team respects because of who she is and how she carries herself and how much she's overcome. She's our student athlete advisory committee rep, and is on a national committee. So she's kind of the total package, and we're happy that she's at Creighton.
Up front, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff Linder, Cedar Rapids Gazette. Kind of the same question on Lauren Jensen. She came over your way from Iowa. Just what has she added to the program?
Yeah, Lauren's been tremendous. She's a kid we recruited out of high school. We had a player on our team from Lakeville North, Temi Sarda, who was our leading scorer, probably our best player last year. And Temi was at Lakeville North as a senior when Lauren was a freshman. So we had, tracked on Lauren, and, we felt like we were down to her final 3 or 4 out of high school. And so I felt like her recruitment, once she entered the portal, was pretty good because we already had a relationship with her. And, I think she, I think at Iowa maybe it was just a numbers game, and it was a COVID year where it was just hard to evaluate freshmen and and know where they were and all that stuff. And I know from our standpoint that was really difficult. We had a really talented freshman class, but you had so few opportunities maybe compared to a normal year to get them in practice and all that. So it took us a while once Lauren got on campus to figure out all the things she could do. I felt like she could really help us as a scorer, and we put her in the starting lineup, and in the third game of the year against Nebraska, she was 0 for 3, and I made it a point, the next time we got together after that game that, in front of the team, I said, Lauren, you need to shoot more than 3 times in a game. I mean, you're too good of a shooter. You put too much time in to only shoot 3 times in a game, and I think that maybe gave her a little bit more of a license, because I think when you come in as a transfer, you're like, okay, I don't want to step on toes. I don't want to overplay my role. I wanted to kind of figure out what my role is, and I think it became more clear as the fall went on and we got into games that we needed her to be a little bit more of a hunter of shots. So she's done a great job, and I think she's fit in really well. And she's got a quick release, and she's not just a shooter too. She can put on the floor, and she can finish around the rim and good mid range. So we're really happy with. And Iowa was great. I mean, I think that they texted me and said you're going to love her. It wasn't anything that she wasn't for whatever reason. And we've all had those kids that maybe it just didn't click. So I think ironically, our first scrimmage for Lauren was in Iowa City against her old teammates. So hopefully she's playing in this building. Tomorrow she's relaxed and understands how good a player she is.
Middle right, Brian.
Yeah, Brian Howell from the Boulder Daily Camera. Coach, another one of your players, Tatum, was from just north of Boulder. Fifth-year senior, I believe, and wrapping up her career. What has she meant to this program, and especially to this particular team?
Yeah, she's as a fifth year. We put a lot on her, and she's got a lot of younger players around her. And she's just been a really good leader, and from that standpoint, I mean, she's not afraid to call somebody out in practice, and that's hard for 21, 22-year-olds to do, even when they get to that fourth or fifth year. And I think she's done a tremendous job of that. I said a year ago, not this year, that in our preseason media session, I said one of the keys to our success a year ago was going to be Tatum's health. And I think I jinxed her because seemed like she was in COVID protocol or nicked up pretty much the whole year. And so this is really probably the year that she's been the healthiest. She's been in practice every day. She's done a great job of being in the training room and taking care of her body. And I think just having her on the practice court every day has been huge for us. She doesn't score the ball that much, but her assist to turnover ratio, her decision making, and her fight is really fun. She's been a huge piece of what we've done, and she understands how talented some of her teammates are, and she's really good at getting them the ball where they can do something with it.
Jeff Linder, Cedar Rapids Gazette. What issues does Colorado provide defensively? They give up 56, 58 points a game. What makes them so good?
Yeah, well, I think they're both sound and they're disruptive. I mean, when you first start to evaluate a team on the defensive end, you're like, okay, are they out taking passes away and putting pressure on the ball, and if they're doing that, are they caught out of position a lot? And I think they're pretty good at both those things. I mean, I think their ball pressure and their ability to get up into you and get out in passing lanes is going to be, something that we're going to have to deal with. And 10.8 steals a game on the season and 10.2 in the Pac-12. That's a lot in a Power 5 conference. That's a lot of steals. So we're going to have to take care of the ball, but we're a pretty good take care of the ball team. I mean, this isn't maybe the best team that we've had in terms of turnovers, but it's a pretty good one. And we can put out. We play a lot of times 5 kids that we're comfortable handling the ball with at any of the 5 positions. So we're not, as much as I just talked about what Tatum can do. I mean, we can initiate offense with people other than our point guard, and we're perfectly willing to do that. So that'll be one way to kind of alleviate pressure. But and their length inside. I mean, certainly Hollingshed is a rim protector, and I think I'm going to try to say, we've been calling her Peanut, but Tutele. Did I get that right, Brian? Gosh, okay, Tutele. Just solid, and Miller. So they're I think they're solid inside, and then they're pretty disruptive on the perimeter.
And the back right.
Matty Marinas, White and Blue Review. Flam, when you've been in this tournament before, but a lot of your players besides Tatum have not. What do you feel like the keys are to combating those jitters that everybody kind of experiences their first time, or you just let them play through it?
Yeah, I think just letting them know that it's a collective thing, and I think that's where our balance is important. I mean, we're not going to come out and run 4 straight plays for Emma to start the game and say, you got to get us going. We're not going to, because, that wouldn't be fair. And, you got to figure out, like you said, who maybe needs to settle in a little bit. But I think humor can be good in that huddle before they come out and, right from the get-go, just telling them to rely on each other, but also to put a smile on. Because I do think, and, the game's not going to be decided in the first 6 to 8 minutes. I just don't feel like that's the case. I mean, it's easy to think that maybe if you get off to a good start or if you don't get off to a good start, but I don't feel like this game is going to be 190, or neither team's getting to 100 tomorrow unless we play a lot of overtimes. So I do think just letting them know that that's natural, that's okay, and you got to rely on each other.
Back right again.
At the same time, the one player you do have returning on this from an NCAA tournament team is Tatum. This might be a complicated question, but how different is she from that point? How much has her game and just herself evolved in that time?
Yeah. Well, you're good at complicated questions, so wasn't unexpected. Yeah, I mean, night and day, hopefully. I mean, I think Tatum as a freshman, the goal was to get her enough minutes and playing time to kind of get to the point where she could overcome some of those mistakes. Because as a freshman, she was high risk, high reward. I mean, she might come in and 4 minutes later, you're like, man, that was a good substitution. Or she might come in and 4 minutes later, you're like, what was I thinking? And that's the case with a lot of freshmen that you put in a decision-making position, especially, if it's a tight situation. So she's kind of the anti that now. I mean, we know what we're going to get from her, and I think she's super comfortable with being the distributor that she is, and she's improved a lot defensively too. I feel like that's somewhere a place where I think she's maybe gone a little bit unnoticed. Is I think she can set a tone, both in terms of her intellect defensively, but also her activity level.
Okay, Coach, thank you. Good luck
Thanks.
tomorrow.
Thanks, you guys.
Reminder, everybody, a recording of this press conference will be available in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts will also be provided by ASAP, and they will be posted shortly. We'll have Creighton's players in here at 2:25. Welcome, everybody. We have Tatum and Rachel here from Creighton University. If you have a question for either Tatum or Rachel, please raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you. Up front, Susan.
Susan Harmon, Hawk Fanatic. Rachel, you had kind of a difficult beginning to this season, as I understand it, from your injury from the year before. Take us through what it was like to sort of finally get into playing again as a senior.
Yeah, good to see you, Susan, by the way. It was definitely a process. In January of last year, I was actually here having my surgery from Dr. Wolf, who you guys might know as the team doc here, a great family friend, and he put me in a great position going forward. But I spent most of the spring and the summer at Creighton getting back to on the court and in the weight room, trying to get back to the game. But being outside of actually playing on the court for any amount of time is very hard to, get back into the swing of things. But it's kind of been a process with my teammates. They've been very patient with me as well as my coaches, being comfortable again, getting up and down the court naturally again. It's been tough, but at the end of the day, I know I'm here with my team, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was a process that I know made me stronger. It helped give me some perspective as well, and ultimately, I'm very thankful to be here more than anything.
Yeah, Rachel, Jeff Linder, Cedar Rapids Gazette. Kind of piggybacking on that, when you saw your name pop up coming to Iowa City, what was that like for you?
I was very excited at first just to see our name pop up in general. I didn't even notice what region we were in at first. And then I think one of my coaches tapped me on the back and said, "Look where we are." And I kind of just had this feeling of complete joy and also just excitement. It's obviously great to be back here. I've been in Carver since I was a baby, so it's very natural for me in here. And we've also played here as a team in the preseason with our closed scrimmage. So we're excited to be here. We're comfortable here, and we're excited to get a few wins this weekend.
Back right.
Matt DeMarinis, White and Blue Review. Tatum, if you could think back to your freshman year, I just wondered how different this week has been for you compared to the 18-year-old version.
Yeah, absolutely. 18-year-old Tatum was so excited and so eager to go to the NCAA tournament, and I would say fifth-year senior Tatum is just as excited and just as eager to be here. It's such a surreal feeling, knowing just what our team has gone through in the last 5 years, and then going through the 2020 season with everything getting shut down and us having a really good chance of making the tournament that year, and then finally being able to make it again this year. It's just amazing.
Middle right.
Tim, you personally, but also your team's very good at not turning the ball over, whereas Colorado's been very good at producing turnovers and steals. What kind of challenge do they present for you as guards, but also just as a team, as far as protecting the ball?
Absolutely. Colorado defends really well, and I think ball security is one of the things that we focused on all week, and we're going to have to continue to focus on going forward. I think using certain people as releases is going to be really important.
Jeff.
For both of you, just what is Lauren Jensen, the addition of her, what has that meant to her or meant to you, and what was her reaction when she saw that she was coming back here?
Lauren Jensen is a great player, but she's also an amazing person. She is so competitive in practice. She pushes us every single day, and I just think the competitiveness and the encouragement that she brings to practice every day has really pushed our team forward.
Yeah, I would say having Lauren on the court is one thing, but having her in the locker room and team bus and team hotel is another thing. She brings so much just happiness and joy with her. She loves the game, and she's a great teammate to have on the court. She rarely gets upset or frustrated, so she's just kind of a calming presence for all of us. And her talent is is a great addition to our team as well. I would say that she fit in quicker than I've seen anyone come in, even as a freshman or a transfer, so she's been great.
Susan?
Susan Harmon, Hawk fanatic. How are you guys going to deal with Colorado's height?
I think that our coaches gave us a great opportunity in the non-conference season to deal with some teams similar to Colorado, looking at Arkansas and Arizona State. We've played against that kind of height before, so we're hoping to be able to apply some of those things that we did early on in the season in this game, and use our height and our quickness to an advantage on the offensive end. See if we can get some points in transition and make the game go up and down. They play a little bit of a slower game, so we're hoping to be able to control the pace.
Although they are bigger than us, we have good posts that can stretch out the floor. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they decide to guard that and kind of using that to our advantage as well.
It seems like, when you in NCAA tournament games, it's a different speed out there just because there's a lot of external nerves that go into it, just being on the big stage. Has it felt any different this week in preparation? And have you guys thought about, just how you're keeping your minds focused on it just being another game?
I think the Big East tournament prepared us well for that. Obviously, going from last year where no fans were allowed in the building to this year, Mohegan Sun was a great environment to play in, and I think it prepared us for this week.
I would also say, in my opinion, I think we've had an incredible week of practice in terms of just positivity. Everyone has seemed to be very calm and excited, but not in an anxious or sped up way. We had some great help from our practice boys, so we're excited, and it doesn't seem like anyone is kind of antsy or anxious in that way.
Susan?
Susan Harmon, Hawk fanatic. For Rachel, you've been there or is this the fifth year or
Fourth.
Fourth, okay, but you had a redshirt year, right?
I played 6 games last season, so kind of.
Anyway, how would you describe the difference between Rachel Saunders freshman and Rachel Saunders senior?
I would say that the process that I went through at Creighton has definitely helped me mentally. I think that my mindset is a lot better than I was going in. I still have the same energy and the same kind of hype and yelling that I had even when I was a senior at Iowa City West. But I definitely think that my coaches have helped me kind of channel that into more of like a calm confidence on the court. And my teammates have helped me grow incredibly, and they've been along with me as I've kind of taken those steps both physically and mentally. So I think that I've gotten to the point where I've been able to kind of take the game more slowly and look at it in a big picture perspective rather than getting so high and so low in different moments.
Any other questions for the student athletes? Okay, thank you. Good luck tomorrow, ladies.
Thank you.
Recording of this press conference will be available in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly. Thank you for joining us. Our next press conference will be